Hello, my friend.
Hello and welcome. This is a wonderful, wonderful meeting. I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah, likewise. It's a lot of energy right now. I think exhaustion plus hope and joy are kind of like in my mixed bag at the moment. So I'm really intrigued to hear what your wisdom keepers are.
Well, and I think a lot of us right now are going through this two steps up and one step back kind of thing.
Yeah.
As we are getting closer and closer to the next year, which we'll go into that, is going to be a big, big, big year. It's been predicted for like thousands of years this next year. So it's going to be huge.
Wow.
But the first thing is to get ready for it. So we're all like, there's the joy, there's the bliss, there's the Then the next day it's like, wait a minute, why am I back there now?
Yeah.
Well, this is breaking away all of the stuff that's in there that needs to be removed or needs to be looked at, needs to be dealt with in whatever form or fashion, not necessarily removed. It might need to just be transformed inside of you into something more beautiful. And that's
Mm.
what we're doing right now to make the room, to make space for what's coming in 2024. And that right now, I mean, you look at the calendar for, we've got the last full moon of the year. We've got the solstice happening right now. All of these things are like, okay, it's really good time to look at everything you've got, what needs to stay, what needs to go. If it needs to stay, organize it so you can find it easily and just move on. Everything that needs to go, let it go. If it needs to be transformed, transform it. Let it be as it is supposed to be
Mm.
so that you can have the space and the bandwidth available for what's coming.
Mm.
So let's just dive into this real quick. 2024 is going to be a year of great transformation. Now, I know a lot of us are like, oh, transformation. And it's a kind of a triggering word at sometimes. Some of us, many of us think, wonderful. Oh, great. Yes. And the rest of us are going, does that mean it's going to be difficult?
Right.
And the answer is yes to both.
Yeah.
It's going to be transformative. This is the year when people who may not have thought they were going to be transformed get into the transformation. This is the year where the powers that be that have been fighting so hard and see it coming at this kind of a pace and this kind of a frequency are just going to go absolutely nuts.
Mm.
So yeah, it's going to be, and it's not on just one front. We humans are part of a much larger scale, not just with the earth, but she's also transforming. But also, it's going to be a huge um, intergalactic transforming for us. All of this time, we have thought we are the only ones in the world or in the universe or, whatever. We are the only ones that matter. It's been very egocentric. That gets to go away. And we get to join the reality that there is, we're not alone.
Yeah.
Um, and this is just and it doesn't matter who you're listening to or how you're listening to them, or they're all saying exactly the same thing. And if you look back to the indigenous cultures and their calendars, this year is the one. This is the one we've all waited for. That doesn't mean that at the end of 2024 everything's going to be hunky-dory. This is the beginning. This is the rebirth. This is the birth process.
Wow.
Oh yeah. And then we get 2025.
So you're making me think about like child development and like the birth labor process and then the first year of having a new baby and I'm just like, oh, those
It
are
wasn't all
super
roses,
fun.
was it?
Well, for me, no.
For
Um,
nobody. for
Right.
nobody.
I don't know. There are some people out there like, it was fabulous. And I'm like, oh, that's nice.
If they really look back at it though, if they're thinking it was fabulous, they had someone else helping them and supporting them and
Okay,
doing
fair
a
enough.
lot of stuff, because there are things that happen in that first year that just are not necessarily fabulous.
Yeah, indeed. With or without a hospital stay or a NICU stay or anything like that, right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Even my first one, who was really calm and sweet and gentle, um, he still did things like we had to change diapers, we had to feed him in the middle of the night. There were times when he didn't sleep in the middle of the night, and you know, there's things that you kind of can expect.
Yeah.
Uh, in this case, because it's brand new, this is for most of us in this lifetime. This is the first huge part of the rebirth.
Mm,
That's not saying that we haven't done it in times past, how many times before, but this one is and on all of the guides, everybody out there, all the channels are saying the same thing, that this one is particularly big. This
mm,
one is particularly energetic. This is where we get to jump from 3D through 4D and even into 5D. So
mm.
this is going to be a big one. And
Interesting.
for those of us who are already working on this, like, yeah, bring it on, bring it on. It's like I said, it's not going to come just like easy street.
Right. Yeah. So tell me more about that. Like what are the wisdom keepers trying to share with what we can do, or like even in the first quarter of this new, calendar year, how can we help ourselves?
So many of us have been gathering tools in our tool belt. Yay, wonderful, good. And we have all these tools in there. But how many of us just put the tools, shelve the tools in the tool belt and kind of forget about them?
Hmm.
Well, this is the time to take all those tools back out, dust them off, make sure you have them ready and easily available. This is what I was saying at the very beginning. You will want to have easy, immediate access to every tool you've got.
Mm,
Self-care is going to become even more crucial at this point
mm,
in time. We're going to need to be able to really take care of ourselves. But the other side of this is a big part of it is the coming together of like minds into groups, not necessarily, but possibly in the same physical area. But this is where we come together in our communities, in our circles, in our groups, and we find the people who are like-minded and are supporting. And so we can go through this not as an individual, but as groups that are, and the groups will be interconnected too. The whole thing is a web, but it's all about connection, support, and that's individually, that's in small groups, that's in the larger picture. That's what we can do. I mean, we were given all these tools for a reason. They're
yeah,
there. So it's time to use them, to make sure we have access to them.
yeah. It's very, very powerful when you say connection, because that word has come up more than a handful of times in the last 3 days for me. In all of the meetings, in all of the groups, and all the committees, that my clients even, that word, feeling connected, feeling like we belong, feeling like we're heard and listened to. And even in the healing realm, it's what does the healing is that connection.
Because each person, we don't heal. We don't heal. A quote healer doesn't heal another person.
Exactly.
They facilitate the healing of that person to themselves.
Mm,
But the other part of that is that in this larger community kind of sense, a lot of people who have been feeling like, what is my purpose? Why am I here? What's going on? Um, you'll find your purpose, but the purpose is not necessarily what you think it is, related to the old ways and the old business model and whatever you've been taught.
Mm.
All of that, and we're going to call that belief systems BS, is going to be taken away. And what's going to be left is, how do I serve?
Right.
And so if you're looking for anybody you deal with, anybody I deal with, anybody who's watching this, how do I serve? How can I best be of service to the whole? What can I give back to humanity, to the world, to the community? How can I best serve?
Yeah.
And that may be where a lot of people will find their community.
And can we pause on this for a second? Because I think I'd like yours and the keeper's insights on, or even just a discussion on how we recognize how we're already getting those messages, because I've had a very powerful experience recently being reminded and seen as the entity that I have always been. And just having that recognition. And I don't necessarily like the word validation, but the I the word
It's
always is,
healing for anyone to have an event like that, because it shows that all that belief system BS that we have been taught is not true, and that we are able to believe in ourselves and be seen as ourselves. And so I'm with you on the word validation. That doesn't sound right,
yeah.
but it is part of a piece of the healing puzzle.
Yeah, and it's being seen for that when you didn't ask for it, right? And all the stuff, for me, all the stuff that I've questioned, fought, ignored, shoved under the rug, and bits and pieces, of course, as I've had life happen, are coming out. But this really went like whoosh. And I'm still sitting with a lot of it and trying to figure out. I just don't even have words. And yet I remember all the signs leading to that being actual, factual for me, like a reality in a sense, but really just ethereal.
I don't know if
So,
you can feel them around me, but they're going, "Welcome to 2024."
yeah. Yeah, and so all you're saying, all I could think of was, oh my gosh. And the words that were used with this other person, practitioner, was fifth dimensional being, and like long, 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 long time spirit, like
Very old soul.
master, just
Mhm.
pardon?
Old soul.
Right. And knowledge, like the universal knowledge. And the interesting part is that my memories of that are when I was a child. All the kind of adult human stuff in the middle doesn't resonate with it because I was doing the human thing, but the stuff when I was a kid. So for the people who are watching and listening to us and maybe getting the tingles, um, I just I want more people to recognize those signs and have that for themselves.
Okay. We'll start with the physical signs first, and these could be seeing little lights flickering, or balls of lights of various colors around you. And these are all signs that a download is coming in. You may not know it, you may not hear it, you may not actually understand that it's coming through, And you may not even actually get a message, or you may, but it means a download is coming through. It could be a kind of prickly fingers and toes, and possibly arms and legs.
Mm.
It could be a feeling of I don't want to call it anxiety, but kind of heightened energy awareness, but in your nerves, in all of your nerves, and in your entire body. It could possibly be phantom pain for no apparent reason. There's just so many ways. What I've been feeling recently for me is I will, maybe I go out and I do a little bit of weeding, no big deal. I come back in and a few hours later, I feel like I'm coming down with something. And I just feel for the rest of that day, it'll just go, and it's not really going down. My energy isn't going down. I mean, I don't feel like moving much because I feel not kind of well, but it's not, there's no cause for it. I'm not sick. I'm not getting sick. And the next day, I will probably be okay, but it's a really great opportunity to make some chicken soup. And that seems to be, you know, comfort food is one thing that we can use for that. But there's also other things. Maybe you're having heightened dreams, or I had one dream where it was going along doing all kinds of weird things, and all of a sudden, boom, power, and I knew, oh wow, this is it. I know that this is what I need to remember from this dream.
Right.
And so it can be something like that. It can be awakened at like 3 o'clock in the morning. You need to get up and do this right now. Really? It can't wait? No. Okay.
Yeah.
It's, there's so many different ways and signs. It's about keeping your eyes open, even for the little signs. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you're in the middle of of a very busy city and you're walking down the sidewalk, and suddenly there in front of you is a feather on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Sign. Okay. Notice. Sign. Whether you pick it up or not, that's not an issue. You see the sign.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be all, I mean, any manner of thing that could be that's not quote normal, although it is, but it's not quite, it's enough quote out of place that you recognize it
Mm-hmm.
if you keep your eyes open.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't keep your eyes open, it might just pass you right on by. So
Right.
the key here is keep your eyes open for all of the signs, and they could be any number of things. It could be a feeling in your heart. It could be a feeling in your body.
Mm-hmm.
It could be maybe, again, maybe you're walking down the street in the middle of a very busy city, and all of a sudden you smell roses for no apparent reason,
Yeah.
or something. You know, the signs will hit each and every person that will come to, not hit. The signs will come to each and every person in whatever way they are most likely to receive it.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Number patterns, either clocks or license plates or receipts, anything like that, addresses.
Which are crazy off the wall right now.
Yeah, they
Just,
are. Yes. Yes.
and it could be repeating digits. It could be ascending digits,
Yeah.
whatever it happens to be. And it could be repeating and ascending at the same time.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, when we started, like on my computer, I have the date and then the time. When we started, it was 211112. So, yeah, and things like pennies or dimes, or thinking about someone and then getting a message from them, or writing them a letter, putting it in the mail, and then opening your mailbox and getting a letter from them, or that's the old school way, like I like to do. But I
and and
think,
the and when you get these signs, first of all, recognize them. But the second you recognize it, thank you, more please.
Yeah.
Be grateful and ask for more signs so
Yeah.
that you can understand that you're still getting all of these messages. And
Yeah.
if you have a moment, when you do have a moment, even a tiny moment, take a little breath. And if you have a moment, be still for a moment and let whatever it was that's coming through come through.
Yeah. And you can do like me and have tiny pieces of paper, napkins, like backs of anything in a box. And it's just like, okay, I got to remember that. You know, sometimes it comes out of in at an inopportune moment, but it's this message that won't leave you alone. Yeah, you and I
Frequently.
both. Yeah, exactly. Um, so you know, my son now knows to not throw anything out that has mama's handwriting on it. He's like, Mama, here you go. And he's like got a little corner on my desk. There you go. So, um, yeah, even our children, the people around us, what they say to us. You and I have been messaging about song lyrics, right? Back and forth, just this like repetitive, you wake up and for no reason you have this in your head, you know? Those things I think are powerful reminders and sometimes new to us when we're just starting this journey, as many people are in our world right now and not sure what to do. They feel weird, they feel wrong, they feel off because they're the only one in their life, in their lives that, whether it's community, family, job, you know, no one talks about it.
But
And
what I'm
yeah,
finding is that there's an awfully lot of people who are feeling it and not talking about it. And you're probably not alone.
yeah,
You just don't know. I mean, uh, be brave enough to address it.
yeah,
Just say, hey, I had this happen. And then you'll probably get, oh, I had something strange happen too. Or,
yeah,
that way you will actually know that there will be people who are still holding to, nope, can't be, can't be.
right.
Okay, fine. You be in your own little world. But you'll find that unexpected people will say, oh, thank you for talking to me about this. Nobody else talks about this.
Yep.
So I'm just saying that there's so many more of us that are still afraid to let it out, but it's there and they know it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Beautifully said.
And that's part of how are going to build our communities is by talking about it, letting it out, saying, hey, this is here.
Yeah. And there's
And
a lot of us online that are out there now.
yeah, I was going to say, look for your friends online, and when they say something that sounds like that, hey, can I talk to you? Or make a comment on their post or whatever. There's getting to be lots and lots and lots of groups out there who are talking about all of this, and
Hmm.
they may not do this in their normal life,
Yeah.
but they are talking about it online.
Yeah. Oh, powerful stuff. So just honoring what's coming through, having compassion for yourself and being curious.
And knowing that you are not only not crazy,
Hmm.
but that your truth is coming
Hmm.
through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, beautifully said. What else would the wisdom keepers like to share?
That we are
Anything?
not alone, that we are not going through this alone. Even each of us who thinks we are going through it alone is not alone. That you are so supported and so loved by everything and everyone out there. And more than anything else, to understand, even as you're in this human experience, that you are still of source, you are source, and you are love. Not just loved, which you are, but you are love and you
Mhm.
are source. You have so much more energy and creative energy, so much more power, so much more just ability than you actually give yourself credit for. And they're back there cheering us all on and and just being there. And each and every one of us is surrounded by beings who are helping us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people get a little nervous about, you mean I'm never alone? They don't care. That's human stuff. You're never
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. It's comforting. It's comforting. You know, once we realize that it's not scary and stuff like that. And since being recognized by that practitioner, maybe that's the word I was looking for. Um, the my fear of the dark has lessened. Because since I was a little girl, I see things in the dark, and that's where they are for me, and it scares the poop out of me sometimes. Like, oh yeah. Um, yeah. But it's really interesting when we can recognize these things for ourselves and actually get grounded with it. That's where we need to be.
Yes. And the sooner the better.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Gosh, I love these talks.
Me too.
Very much too. Yeah. That's a lot. I always want to know if there's more, but I don't know if I want to know if there's more today. So, with the
Well,
holidays.
it's also interconnected, you know, with everything, you know. And yes, you're right. There's this holiday coming up, but holidays, my sense is that the reasons that we have had for holidays are all of human making, and the way they are celebrated, and I'm going to put that there and putting that in quotes, um, is something that's not necessarily in the best interest of all of us going forward.
Mm,
Expect those to change, especially those that are local to a specific what we call country.
hmm.
Watch the borders as they dissolve. That's the word they're using.
Yeah.
And um, learn that what, you know, the idea of celebrating something once, one day a year, instead of celebrating love all year long
Exactly.
and every day, all day long.
Mm,
To live in bliss, you don't need to have signs of you don't need these signs of, oh, see how loved I am right now, because you know you
yeah.
always are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of the holidays that have been created are for connection, right? And that's like we don't see it that way anymore. It's been lost. Like the concept of like the purpose, I guess, is more material or different for many, many people. And it's not even religious anymore for people. And not saying that that's where we need to go. It's the connectivity. It's that constant connection. It's that rebuilding the village. It's the finding where you belong with self and then building your belonging out, right? That ripple.
Yeah, and that's whether or not it was actually created for that, and they're begging to differ about how that was part of the creation of it. That is where it's going, is
Mm,
and to celebrate community all the time,
hmm.
because there's so many people out there who are afraid of what happens when I get older if I don't have anyone to take care of me. If
Hmm.
you have community, you never have to worry. You're always taken care of. And you're also caring for the community. Everyone is part of the whole.
Yep. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you don't need random days to say, you're part of the community. You already know it.
Yep. Yep. Totally.
And it's not built around anything that is from the old way, uh, that is in any way disempowering or harmful or hurtful or anything else. It becomes all about love, shared love between all of the members of the community.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that community, each of the little cells of community, understand they are part of the bigger cells and part of the whole and part of the even larger whole. And so there is no reason for any of the toys of the power structure. Oh, I hate that term, but they liked it. Okay. To be playing their games.
Yeah.
It's not necessary anymore. There's no fear. There's no hate. There's no anger. There is disagreement. I mean, no, there, everybody's still an individual and everybody has a different way of seeing things. But each and every one respects that that is part of the whole and it fits into the whole.
Yeah. 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 Mm.
And there we've added the icing on the cake, and probably that's more icing than we need.
Oh my gosh. Yep. Yeah. So much food for thought.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. As always, thank you so much for all of this and holding the space between us. And I just love being able to brainstorm and share and thought and question and any of that with you.
And it means just as much to me. And thank you for being there so that we can do this, so that we can share it with the world.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Should we end there for today?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
I am